Ashu, thank you for being with us here today. As you know, authentic leadership has become literally a buzzword. Could you share with us, from your experience, your definition of authentic leadership?
Hello, Joy, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about my perspective of authentic leadership. Authenticity for me really is about when there's no gap between how you feel, how you think, and how you act. People experience you truly as a human being, as a holistic human being in that moment, without any there's a trust that emerges in that presence. There is a feeling of connection. There is a feeling of humanness. And that for me is authenticity. Now, when you live like that at all times, like a leader, taking leadership of all choices, of whether it's your emotions, your words, or your actions, that is authentic leadership. You're really coming from a place of understanding that every choice has an equal and opposite, there's a law of cause and effect at play at all times. And life is very fair. Often we turn around and say life is not fair. The biggest fairness is we design our life, and we have the power to design it. If only we were to take leadership of how we think, how we feel, and then we act from that space of understanding and awareness. That is authentic leadership.
Leadership has always been important, but today, post the pandemic, why is it so critical for a professional to be an authentic leader?
This pandemic has actually shaken up the foundation of society. None of us are, even know what is there ahead. The fear of unknown is so high, and it is not uncommon. It is a very common fear of unknown exists in everybody. It manifests as a fear of failure, fear of rejection, a need for acceptance in many, many shapes and forms and colors. What holds us true and good in such times is a feeling of trust and faith that there is a known I can trust. Now, in all of us, the known is the inner self or the inner voice. But for another human being, the known is a leader who they look up to, a leader who they are really saying, please show us the way out of this. Now, the interesting part, or the part of this pandemic, is nobody knows the way out because nobody has answers. And nobody can even pretend to have answers beyond a point. Look at the scientists and the doctors. If they are struggling, who are rest of us? Economists don't know, the bankers don't know, nobody knows. And I think everybody is really making the most of it as the days are going by. Now, in such a scenario, the only way to really move forward is by saying, I don't know, but how can I take help from somebody who may know? Now, somebody may be strategically smart and strong. Someone may be strong in marketing, another one in finance. I think we are really in an era of experts rather than just solo leadership or soul leadership. I would define, they're very different ways, and I'm going to bring in a play of words. Will you say SOLE, soul leadership, or SOUL as soul leadership? And it's really a choice to make. Where do I want to come from? And when people are working from home for the longest time, there is no other way but to connect as a human being. To motivate, to have the productivity, the effectiveness, the connectedness to the vision of the organization, to stay aligned to the context of an organization. A leader has to put themselves out there and live it and be I don't even know if I should say an embodiment of that vision, for people to actually be able to work through it rather than feel disconnected and not know what to do. And this can only happen when you are willing to be vulnerable, collaborative, and recognize that everybody brings something of value to the table.